Hello, I'm Joel Blackford with Beth Hassett Sabbath Fellowship. Thank you for joining us. We're virtual only based out of St. Paul, Minnesota. The phone number works if you'd like to contact us. We do the thought behind the thought, the philosophy of eschatology, what you need to know, your reality, our existence. We look at other things, but we look at Revelation specifically. We're looking at some of the horrible times of Seal 6 and some of the other aspects of Revelation today. And so the main thing is people are saying that we're going into the Great Tribulation right now. So this is Nelson Walters that I'm citing here. Tribulation has started 10/2 of 2024. I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. I do believe that the four horsemen are riding. I think that makes sense, but that doesn't mean that we're in. You just have to start adjusting your eschatologies. So we need to read the Bible more. We need to study prophecy. That's That's Johnson. Why am I blanking? Oh, well, you'll see the slide in a minute here. So basically, he's the prophecy club, and he's fake prophecy. He really is. And then the news, we need to check that out too. So let's do the Stan Johnson. Stan. So the main thing is I have prerequisites for the tribulation starting. I hope they're biblical, but this is what I think will occur. First, you need all four horsemen riding. Then you need increased martyrdom of the fifth seal. Then you need the solar micronova, the first one. That's the sixth seal, physics. You need the seventh seal to open at some point in time after that. You would need silence. And we would be exhausted, say, on Yom Kippur, as the Kohen HaGadol, the great Kohen, would be working alone silently on Yom Kippur. There is something that matches with what's going on with the seventh seal, technically. Then the great incense and the prayers are cited in texts with any time that the wrath of God is coming, you want great incense and prayers to assuage God's anger and his off. Transporting the incense is associated with Yom Kippur and also with the seventh seal. Prayers are mixed with incense on Yom Kippur and Teshuvah, which is repenting and turning towards God instead of away from God and sinning. You would notice leading up to this event, unnatural winds would increase. The 144,000 would be sealed, plus some others. Jet streams would cease then at some point in time, and you'd notice the difference between the strong winds and suddenly everything ceases. Then the silence in heaven and on earth, incense service in heaven. You'd smell the incense on earth, I believe. Peals of thunder, voices, flashes of lightning, and earthquake. Then the shofar blast is heard on earth. I believe that would be that first trumpet. And it's the first shofar. Based on how I'm reading it in the Hebrew, it's a shofar. More pouring out of God's Spirit, plus more satanic powers would be poured out too. So those are my prerequisites, but I'm going to cite a couple of false prophecies first. Nelson is clickbaiting again. He does this all the time. Sleeping through the apocalypse, and he's citing Matthew 25:5, whatever. According to Nelson, it started on October 2nd of 2024, which it did not, okay? He's saying, well, the UN signed a one world government treaty, and yeah, whatever. That wasn't the treaty. The White Horse opens the Great Tribulation. Well, I don't think he's predicting anything there. Saying killer hurricanes prove that we are in the final years. Iran attacked Israel. The Feast of Trumpets starts the final 7 years. World powers are dividing Israel. Iran tested a nuke. That's the reason why we went in. You can tell based on my prerequisites, they're different. Rachel's a nice lady. I think she's a wonderful person, but she's saying tribulation now, the fall of America 2024, and she's citing Terry Bennett. And she's saying that America has started the time of the Great Tribulation. We're in the first one half of the 7-year time frame. She's wrong. She's just flat out wrong. And so see the purpose in the events, preparation, sifting, judgment, protection, readiness. She's following Terry Bennett. Terry is wrong. Rachel, you need to stop that, okay? Terry Bennett is wrong. He's a false prophet. Stan, as I mentioned, Stan Johnson is a false prophet because he just keeps on floating out people like his wife. Leslie, nice person, but she's wrong all the time. And Dana Coverstone, he's always wrong. But yet, on the other hand, you have to bless him because he pushed out Dimitri Duduman and other people, and Dimitri, I'll cite his prophecies later on in the video. Dimitri was a great man. His grandson is a great man to this day. So his four voices of the Great Tribulation are Vicky Goforth Parnell. I want you to look at the picture here and then look at her at present. She has aged because of her false prophecies. Number 2, Terry Bennett, as I mentioned. Number 3 is Byron Searle. I have personal experience with him. He is a false prophet. The fourth voice is Maria Morola. She's no longer with us, and she's the fourth voice, and I'll cite all of these. So once again, look at the picture that you saw. Well, here, I'll just go back to it. That's what she looked like just a few years ago. This is what she looks like now, okay? That's what happens when you give out false prophecies. So, first witness of the tribulation, she said that we are in the Great Tribulation. She's wrong. And her site is called My Lovely Jesus Ministry, but it's really creepy. Her ministry is creepy. He's not dying today, okay? He's alive right now. He's coming back as a living being. So, she is wrong. And so, Vicky, according to Stan Johnson and the Prophecy Club, she stated that we've gone in. But now look at Stan with all of his advertisements going on here for Joseph's Kitchen, which is his way of selling food, then Cornerstone Asset Metals selling gold, and then an EMP shield that he's selling, and then Berkey's that he's selling. Yeah, that's what Stan's doing constantly. He's selling. So that's why he's not so accurate, okay? So Vicky is a witness. Terry Bennett is the third one. Terry Bennett said October 5th. Well, here, I've got more accurate information coming up. Basically, he says Macron is the Antichrist. He saw it. He says that these angels come to him and tell him, like Gabriel is literally coming to Terry Bennett, okay? And so here's his dates. Terry Bennett, a trusted prophet, stated that he was shown by the Lord by these angels showing up. Gabriel showed up for Terry Bennett. Okay, it's silly that the first four seals opened up, and so Terry is the leader of Messengers of Shiloh Ministry. First horse, October 5th, 2022. Second horse, April 8th of 2023, which also happens. So it's Yom Kippur, he cited, then 18 of Nisan, which is just during the unleavened bread. And then third and the fourth seals, black and pale horses, October 11th and 12th of 2024. So he says, we're in. He's wrong. And the angel Gabriel is not stopping by Terry's house just to give him some messages. It's not happening. So that's him. And then the third voice is Byron Searle. Well, Byron prophesied over Beth Hesed back in 2018. He was wrong. He didn't understand why he was wrong. His wife pushes him into doing this. He is not a prophet. He's just a guy that likes to play rock and roll drum. Okay? That's what he does. His wife wants him to be the hero of the end times. He's not. So 5 seals are open. That's Byron. And you're going to see all of these things occurring. And so he says, we're in. Okay, according to Stan and Byron, we're in. We're not. We're not. Okay, Byron's a liar. And then you've got Maria. She came on Prophecy Roundtable many years ago. And she also came on just a few months ago. And we got into a fight. And then she died. Okay, so why was she wrong? Well, she's dead. So she's wrong. Abrahamic covenant was the one signed on 2020. Trump is the little horn. Well, she can't state those things anymore, and she's wrong. So there you go. Worldwide Church of God says that the seals are open, and the SDAs, the Seventh-day Adventists, say the seals are open, and they give you their evidence for it, but it's not really good evidence. I'll give you better evidence at some, not all of it today, but some of it, okay? The main thing is that I could make a case for the first 4 seals, but I could make a case at some point in time that the 6th seal will open when you see the signs that I will mention. Okay, so some of the signs are we are getting nothing from the sun right now. We're actually going into our minimum phase, okay? We just came out of maximum, probably late last year. But the main thing is during the first part of June, we saw the sun kick off some small flares that were huge down here. The auroras were huge. I'm not sure that this is the case, but it worked with Sodom and Gomorrah. The Pride Festival started exactly as these KP indexes went through the roof. And so you should have felt it. You should have felt miserable. Okay, so this is from Ben down below, and the solar storm has finally subsided after the CME impact 4 days ago, starting in June, Pride Month. We're back in the green here, but remember the ionospheric, technological, and biological and meteorological impacts continue for 36 to 48 hours. So through the 4th, so basically all the way up through the 8th or 9th. Okay, it's also a Shavuot sign, which is 1 Corinthians 1:22, because Jews are looking for a sign. And so it was interesting to note this. So thanks, Ben Davidson, for cataloging all of these things. So I I want to mention this is interesting that we should experience an EMP before we go into the Great Tribulation and then at the tail end of the Great Tribulation. And Rebecca Sterling had a vision years ago, or a download, she calls it. And so what you're going to notice is in number 7, Living in the Basement, HD, that she learned about the EMP and she said, well, I don't even know what an EMP is. She kind of blamed it on, that she knew that it would lose power, but she thought maybe it was sunspots or Carrington event. She didn't really know what it was. Doesn't matter. She saw 2 different things, a small one and a large one. So just keep that in mind that she saw this, and this is back in 1999. Well, we're experiencing times where we could see this now going forward, where there would be enough of an EMP to knock us out for a temporary time frame, and then we'd come back, and then eventually 6-7 years later we would see another big EMP. That would be a micronova in each case. Bush official claims U.S. built secret 21 trillion underground city for the rich and powerful. In some ways, this is good because you'll be able to get underground and protect yourself from these, like Elon Musk and his boring company. You can get underground, but in some ways, the wealthy are building their bunkers for about 2 years from now, and so their bunkers are getting ready. And so that's a sign of knowing when we're going into this. This is from May 5th of the New York Post of 2025. And so watch the bunkers, just watch it. And yes, they are building the bunkers. If you have to ask how much it costs to get in there, you're not invited. Okay, so just keep that in mind. But these events are coming, and the wealthy know it, and the governments know it. Okay, the governments know it now. So the Olympics, I'm telling you that they were telegraphing back in the Olympics of 2024 that we were going to have these things coming up. They telegraphed the horsemen to us, Marie Antoinette, which is basically martyrdom, Passover, obviously with Yeshua, and then Azazel. So I'm thinking that those dates are interesting for 2024 and for 2025. And also it's tied to Jeroboam's false Sukkot festival from 1 Kings 12. And so just read that yourself and see how the timing will be this year. We'll see what happens this fall. I did some numbers. I ran some numbers and said, oh, it looks like the 16th of October back in 1793 was 10 of Heshvan. So that would be the false Yom Kippur. Interesting, okay? And then I ran the numbers forward from 2024, and we didn't go in, guys. Just so you're aware, we didn't go in. But it's just interesting that reign of terror, which is martyrdom, seemed to be signaled by the Olympics. So then I ran the numbers for 2025, and that would be the 22nd, 23rd, thereabouts of 2025, going forward from that. Well, it's interesting, but I ran the numbers differently. I ran them from 10/31, which is Halloween, which would be more like getting close to that false Yom Kippur, and that would run you out to October, to April 13th of 2029, which is Apophis. Interesting. That's 1,260 days. And then I ran it forward from there, too, from Apophis forward, and that would be to 9/25 of 2032, which would be Shemini Atzeret, which is the last great day. Read John 7:37, and you'll read more about how living waters, will flow out of Yeshua on the Mount of Olives there. So it's just intriguing to see how these numbers work out. I ran them again just for the fun of it to see 11/11 of that time frame. It didn't make as much sense, but I just want you to be aware that the numbers seem to match around Apophis, and I'll show you Apophis on the later slide. So from Tom Horn. So the main thing is things are picking up. May 12th was the second Passover. May 14th was the 77th anniversary of Israel. Very interesting. May 15th, the 7th anniversary of Trump concluding Jerusalem was the capital. May 15th, again, Operation Warp Speed, 5th anniversary. Not a healthy thing. That's why it's that color of green. You know what it is. Jibby jabbers. Trump meeting Saudi Arabia, May 13th through the 16th, right after the full moon. Then we calculated Shavuot, and the Orthodox Jews celebrated on June 1 through 3 as the storms came in. That was space weather. Then by June 8th, we had the real Shavuot, the sighted moon, Shavuot, Pentecost. Then as of June 11th, we'll have the Fallen Angel Conjuring beginning, and that's going to be the World Invocation Day. Very interesting. That's coming up in 2 days. I'm recording on the On the 9th, yeah, obviously. That's a Wednesday. This is a Monday. I didn't record yesterday because Shavuot. I enjoyed. So June 15th through the 17th, G7 nations in Canada. Interesting. June 17th through the 20th, the UN is attempting to divide Israel. And they'll meet in New York City. Very interesting. These are busy times. Just keep it in mind. So once again, June 11th, and so that's World Invocation Day. And just so you can track the blood moon eclipses, you've got Purim, March 14th. Then April 13th was the full moon of Passover. Okay. And then the full moon of May 12th was when King Trump was ready to fly out to Saudi Arabia and the other Arab nations to conduct peace deals and set up the and that's also the second Passover, interesting enough. And then the full moon of June 11th coming up, where Lucifer, the loosest trust Satanists, are exhorting their fallen angel and Nephilim friends to enter our realm. It's a countdown, okay? And so we're going to host the show that night. Courtney Turner is going to be on with us June 11th to talk about these fallen angels manifesting. Then we'll have Mark Biltz on the 12th, which is very interesting. So you can see the layout 314 blood moon eclipse, and then you go through to the midpoint. You've got Aleister Crowley and those guys meeting on the 11th, and then 9/7. So everything's perfectly aligned. It's interesting. And then 2025, according to V.A. Belkin, who's a brilliant man, is saying based on the cosmos, the signs seem to track that you're going to have a recession, a very strong recession, a dip in GDP in 2025. Interesting. So you can freeze this if you want to and read through it. But basically, he's saying economic crises and solar activity extrema calculation for the fall of world GDP growth in 2025. Interesting. As you know, things go in cycles. God works in cycles. He teaches that way. So let's move forward. Trump is globetrotting. He'll be back at it again. He'll be going up to Canada. He's working to add to the Abraham Accords. It takes time to get this done, time to get peace. It'll be a brokered peace. It'll be a business type of a peace where, the deals occur. Trump Gaza, things like that. Our magnetosphere is thinning. It's probably down by 27%. Its depletion is increasing physical and mental diseases. How far away is the galactic magnetic current sheet? It's a dust sheet. It's getting closer, so just keep that in mind. That first event is Revelation 6:12 through 17, the sixth seal. And then the fourth trumpet is where it obscures it again. Then the fourth bowl is where we have the ELA, the kill shot. And we're done at that point in time for power for the rest of the Great Tribulation. That's probably right at the tail end. Our projected pole flip, Isaiah 24:18, is due by 2040 or earlier. The Temple Mount desires, rumors, negotiations are increasing. AI, the mark of the beast, and computing will hit singularity, which is Skynet, by 2032 to 2035. Western civilizations are collapsing. It's getting worse. Belgium and France and Great Britain could fall within a decade. Messianics and Sabbath keepers are increasing. That's a good sign. That's what I do. The Satanists and Nar Christians, that's New Apostolic Reformation Christian witches, have a heightened fervor going in, and basically there's no difference between a witch and a witch. Extra dimensional beings into existence. That's Revelation 9 and Revelation 12 by potentially June 11th. We'll watch it. False prophets are increasing, and then economic uncertainties, increasing wars and rumors of wars, and then Pope Leo. No, the one to watch is Pietro Parolin. He's the Peter the Roman. He runs the Roman Catholic Church, and he's not a good man. He's a bigger communist than the last pope, Pope Francis. So just be aware of all of these things. So this is Don quoting down at the bottom. I'd expect Rome to be destroyed if the Chinese are going to advance all the way to the gates of Paris. That will be quite a war between Russia and Europe versus China and Japan, which will take out, I think, it's half the world when you look at the plagues. 1/3 of fire, nuclear war, and quarter die of the plagues, which is probably the nuclear fallout from that war. At the tail end, I would say. So, journalist Russ Coulthart, doomsday theorist. Unnamed U.S. government high-level insiders are convinced that something catastrophic is coming soon and urging him to sound the alarm. We are on borrowed time. I think it could hit this fall. So Russ is running around saying that. He's a new News Nation guy. I'm once again stating you'll have a smaller micronova and then a larger micronova, and we'll be done electrically after the larger one. But we'll come back from the first one. It's temporary. Okay, so he's citing it, and the government workers are citing it too, the insider guys. I don't believe in this guy, Weston Warren. He's talking about a black star. There is no Nibiru. There is no black star. There is, yes, an object might have caused Noah's great flood, but I doubt that. I think it was more God. He's talking about winds increasing. So I do agree with that. Massive hailstorms, yes, of course I agree with that. Crop failure, yes. Unprecedented natural disasters. And once again, he's targeting 2027. So both of them are looking at those dates. Ben Davidson is saying a disaster cycle. He's 99% confident. Cycle due now, 99% confident based on 6,000 years, 12,000 years, 18,000 years. They just come every 6,000 years. Magnetic pole shifting happening now. It's getting worse, 99% confident. 90% on the ozone, UV, cosmic rays, extinction risk. Okay. And so there will be a remnant surviving. Timing, 1859 to 2000. He thinks it's due in the 2040s, maybe sooner. He's 90% confident on that. Galactic trigger. There is a cycle, and he's 90% confident there. He's citing only one micronova. I'm citing two, and he's saying he's 80% confident on that. Earth turns over, 75% confident on that. Tilt angle, not angel. Greenland due. Greenland will be a wonderful place to live, and northern Canada when it flips. Okay, it'll turn because the ice caps are so heavy. It'll flip 90 degrees. So the Earth would turn over. Solar micronova. It seems to work. Thanks, Ben. So civil war starts when? So now we're citing true prophets that I trust. And Trump deploys military to LA. That's not the event that Dimitri was talking about. Okay, LA is not where things kick off. But they'll have Trump's troops everywhere, Trump's troops. Okay, so this is the prophecy on the right-hand side. He said, remember this, Dimitri. The Russian spies have discovered where the nuclear warehouses are in America. When the Americans will think it's peace and safety, we don't think that yet, but we're close. From the middle of the country, some of the people will start fighting. So it could be Missouri, it could be Minnesota, it could be any of those types of places in the middle of the country. When you're saying peace and safety, that's a later date than now. Some of the people will start fighting against Trump's government, and I added Trump, obviously. The government will be busy with internal problems. Then from the ocean, from Cuba, Nicaragua, Mexico. He told me two other countries, but I didn't remember what they were. They will bomb the nuclear warehouses. When they explode, America will burn. So Wilkerson says it differently. And on the left-hand side, this is a former police officer saying this is all deep state staged. If these thugs are close enough to your home, you're too close to survive what's coming anyway. Get out. Move to a more rural area. So in the Battle of L.A., the violence is escalating, but it's not that violence cited by Dudeman or Wilkerson. So we've got time. The Great Holocaust follows an economic collapse in America. The enemy will make its move when we are weak and helpless. That's Wilkerson back in 1973. Very accurate. So which beast and when, and this is a picture of the beast, basically, which is the mark of the beast in this case. And so it would be on the hand, and it would be on the eye or above the eye. That's AI. That's their version of it. But basically, Elon has seen the belly of the beast from the inside and decided the beast cannot be saved. Let that sink in. Interesting. So which beast? AI singularity, due by 2032. Another beast. Ozone depletion, micronova, pole flip by 2040. That's a beast. Mass depopulation by wars and insanity. That's a beast. Economic and inflation woes. That's a beast. Fall of Western civilization. We turn into a third world. That's a beast. Food and crop failures. That's a beast. Water issues. That's a beast. Narcissistic and stupid politicians. That's a beast. And then the mark of the beast at some point in time. So keep in mind that everything is going to be peace based on mammon, on cash. That's the peace that we're going to see. You'll see the Abraham Accords increase at some point in time. We don't know when, but they're working hard for that. Witkoff, Jared Kushner, they're all working on this as we mark the Jewish state's 77th Independence Day. Just interesting. So it's 77 days. Just keep that in, or 77 years. Very interesting. And when I look at Judaism, the top rabbis lived to be about 77. So we would be the 84th year by 2032. Just monitor, just be aware of it. Not making any predictions. Tom Horn made predictions, and he said that we would kick it off in 2025. We would then go into the 2029 Apophis as a midpoint, and I'm seeing the pole flip acceleration, and the trumpets would blow during the first half, and then the second half, the seven bowls would be poured out from 2029 to 2032. We'll see. We'll see. That's Tom Horn again. He's dead now. We're in the birth pangs. We're not in the tribulation. We're not in the Great Tribulation. When people are saying to you, we're in the Great Tribulation, go back to the first sheet on this video and look at those things and say, that's biblical. So the angel Gabriel is not going to show up at Terry Bennett's house and tell him that we're going in, okay? You're going to have to look at the Bible and look at the signs and reconcile things like I do, okay? So when will it start? Not now. Might be later on. Could be this fall. Could be. We'll see. You work on you. Clean garments. You can't be naked. It's a wedding. Rosh Hashanah. Maybe a Yom Kippur. Maybe a Sukkot. The main thing is it's a wedding. Can't be naked. Can't be dirty. Okay? So thank you very much for your time. God bless you. And we will see you in another week. And keep in mind, I'd like you to watch the shows on Wednesday night on the 11th. And then Mark Piltz is showing up on the 12th. So this will be a really fun week with Courtney and Mark. And God bless you all for listening. Thank you. Bye-bye.